Hello and welcome back to my craft room. This is the second video in a little mini series where I'm making decorative danglers, for want of a better word. I'm using scraps of silk and cotton. I'm using a couple of bundles that I got from Bazaar, but you could use whatever scraps you've got. Last time I was making balls, this time I'm making bells, and next time I'm going to be making squishies. Then it's tassels, then I'll be putting the whole lot together to make some decorative dangly things to maybe hang on a Christmas tree during the festive season, but I would hang them up all year round or dangle them from craft bags or whatever. Let me show you what I mean. So here's some of the pieces I've already been making. I had 2 bundles of the Bazaar scraps, which are rescued fabrics that come over from India. They would be waste from the textile industry. There's a massive amount of waste generated by the textile industry, so we're just doing our little bit to rescue them. So here's what I've got left. I had 2 packs. There was a kind of one that was all reds and pinks, and there was one that was more blues and greens. Both had some of these lovely metallic-y brocade pieces, and they each had, because with the Bazaar packs you always get now one of these patchworked pieces. So this is the one that came with the blues and greens, and this is the one that came with the reds. And I also got, in the reds one, I got like a strip, like a narrow strip as well, and I used that strip to create little squishies like this one. So these will all be strung together in different combinations. Once I've got a whole lot of pieces, I will have a play around with the arrangement, and I hope to make a whole little collection of these danglers. Also got things like bells and beads. I've got some shisha mirrors, and I've got these kind of things all came out of Bazaar scrap packs as well. I've been hoarding some of these for a while. This came in with one of these packs. These others I've had stashed away for a while, and this I got from Bazaar too, but not in a scrap pack. I bought that separately. So I'm going to use these pieces and perhaps some odd strips of fabric that are too small to do anything else with to create tassels. I'm hoping to bind the tassels with this gold thread that came in one of these packs. Last time I did this ball and covered it with sequins. Maybe I did that one last time, but anyway, so these are the balls I've been making, which work better with the silks and kind of lighter weight cottons. The bell I'm going to make today, you can make out of anything really, but it comes out differently depending on what kind of weight of fabric you're using. So the one I'm going to make today will be pretty much exactly like this one. It's got this kind of cotton twill stuff that came in one of the packs, and then this lighter weight cotton print on the back. Not on the back, that will be the right side. I also did this one with a much heavier weight fabric. You can see there this embroidered sequined one lined with one of the brocades, so that's all together much stiffer, got more body to it. And I also made some in, so that one's a silk backed with a brocade, so the brocade gives it a bit more body. This one's silk just backed with a light cotton, so it still works, but it's just softer and floppier. And I think what I'll end up doing is stitching little beads onto the corners of this, what I'm calling a bell, and then they'll all be strung together, perhaps with again, these bits and pieces have all come out of Bazaar scrap packs in the past. I think this one came in one of these packs, this came in one of these packs. There's always a few bits like this. I'll do various combinations of these beads and things, and I'll do a tassel on the bottom of each one is kind of where I'm going. So today's video is going to be making the bell. See what a glorious mess I've been making here. So I've just got I could just use normal machine thread for this part, but I've just got embroidery floss handy, so that's what I'm using. I'm using 2 strands, and I'm going to put these pieces right sides together. You could definitely machine this part if you wanted to, but I just prefer to sit in quietly hand stitch. And what I'm going to do is sew all the way around. I'm not going to leave an opening. Just go back through that loop to make a little knot. I'm not going to leave an opening. I'll show you in a minute how I turn it right way out. And it doesn't need to be back stitch, it can just be a small running stitch like this. I like using a long needle like this one because I can take lots of stitches through at the same time. It's perfect for this sort of straight stitching. So yeah, just I'll see it better that side, just a small running stitch like that. Maybe at the corners I'll double up. So let me just get to the corner a minute. Doesn't matter what size you make these, I just sort of cut. It just depends on what size piece of fabric I've got. I always make a point of not wanting to waste a single thing out of these packs, and even the tiniest scraps are going into my ARTS jar, and I use them to fill the balls. And the ones where I've used ARTS rather than the polyfill, that's a polyfill one that's a bit squishier. Where I've used the ARTS, they're actually really quite firm, these balls. And you wouldn't have to do what I've done with them. You could just make a whole load of the balls and string them together and just make like a garland, like a tree all sort of decorated with little hand stitched pieces like this would be lovely, especially if you include some with sequins on it, some with the shisha mirrors. But you get shisha mirrors in some of them are broken, but that doesn't matter, I can work around that. You get shisha mirrors quite often in the Bazaar packs as well, but they're easy enough to get hold of. This set, this little box was full of shisha mirrors that I got from Amazon. So these little triangles were from that set. Yeah, some of the circles, the heart shapes, I believe. I'm not sure actually. But yeah, they're easy enough to get hold of. More beads and stuff in there that I've stashed away. So yeah, I can use a lot of those kind of things. And as well as putting stitching sequins on here, you could just cover these with beads as well. You could definitely put them in rows or whatever too if you wanted. I've just stitched them on randomly, but you know, you could make more of a definite pattern if you wanted to. Just whatever you feel like doing. So where I've come to the corner here, I'm just going to double back to make the corner a little bit more secure. And then go back into my running stitch again. So I'm going to keep going all the way around this square. It won't take me long because you can see I'm not doing tiny stitches or anything. Oops, just nearly unthreaded my needle. I'm going to carry on all the way around and then I'll be back to show you the next stage. It's very, very quick this. Here we go, I've stitched all the way around, reinforcing the little corners. I'm just going to clip across those corners now. Before I turn it right way out. And then to turn it the right way out, because I've not left an opening, but what I'm going to do is just take the two layers apart and just make a little snip at the centre of this layer, whichever layer is going to be on the inside. And then I can turn it right way out through that hole, because that's not going to show. Okay. So I'm just going to wiggle my finger in through that little slit that I've made, poke out the corners. There we go. So now I've got that square, and then the next thing is to take either contrasting thread or coordinating thread and just run a line of stitching all around the outside. I didn't do that on, which ones have I done it on? I quite like the look of doing it. Like I've done it on that one. I've I've just done a straight stitch all over. I quite like that detail. But on this one I've used a contrasting blue thread, which I think looks quite nice, but this one I haven't. So I mean, you can see the direct difference there. I've done the contrast in a kind of overstitch, which I've done afterwards. I think I quite like that green, bluey green colour. So let's use that. A couple of strands. I wonder if a chain stitch would look nice too, wouldn't it? Shall I try a chain stitch on this one? Or a blanket stitch would be nice too, wouldn't it? Shall I do a blanket stitch on this one? Yeah, let's do a blanket stitch. So I'm going to go in, take my thread in here. Come out on the edge. And then just do the usual blanket stitch. And it's partly to and make it a little bit of a bit stronger, but also just to add a little fun detail, a little pop of a different colour. It's quite nice. So yeah, I'm sure most people watching this will already know blanket stitch, but I do think a chain stitch would be quite a fun little detail. Imagine a chain stitch running all the way around the edge. That'd look really good as well, I think. Whatever you feel like. I'm going to carry on going around this. While I'm sitting doing this, I'm going to catch up on, I missed Create and Craft with Christine's live premiere yesterday because I'd been away. I just got home, came up pretty much straight away to thinking I would catch the live, but of course our clocks have gone back now, so I think it's an hour earlier. It's 11 o'clock, so I missed it. So I'm going to catch up on that while I carry on stitching here, and then I'll come back to you when I've finished doing my blanket stitching around the edge. Here we go, I finished doing my blanket stitch all around, and now I'm going to, this is going to be the wrong side, I'm going to fold the fabric like this, and I'm going to stitch for, you could draw this out or pin it or whatever, but I'm not going to bother. I'm going to eyeball it. I'm going to go about a sort of centimetre down and do a line up here and back down there again, just sort of like a coat hanger shape. I think I just did a running stitch for this because it's not really going to show, but I'm going to use this vaguely matching thread. I'll start with a couple of double stitches, then do a small running stitch, and then go back to double stitch to finish off. If I knot to start off with, lose it on the inside. Make sure that is inside, yeah. Couple of double stitches to start with, and then I'll just go into a small running stitch, and I'm just heading up to there to go to the about the centre. As I say, if it's easy, you could draw it out with any pen would do, because it's not going to show. It wouldn't need to be heat erasable or anything, so whatever works. Just heading up to the middle. Ideally you want them symmetrical, but it's not the end of the world if they're not. It's pretty forgiving actually. So I'm about at the middle now. I'll just do a little double stitch there, I think, and then coming back down the other side to slope down in the other direction and end up about a centimetre away from that folded edge again. And you can sort of make it more of a flat top, or up to a point. It just changes the shape of the bell slightly, but doesn't really matter which. So that one ended up quite rounded at the top. that one's more pointy, but I like them both, so it don't matter. Ow, ow, ow! Finish off with a couple of double stitches there. Look, that's bleeding now. Felt it hit my bone. Okay, let's just take the thread up the inside a bit there. Okay, so that's that, and then it'll shape like that on the outside. So you can see you could change the shape a bit by bringing it down more, or by rounding off the top, or whatever. Don't want to get, I suppose it'll match if I get blood on it. Put something of myself into every project. Right, so now I'm going to open it out and fold it the other way, and just line it up so that those little pleats are matched up, and the edges and corners are matched up. Again, not crucial if they're not exactly matching. And I'm going to do the same thing across in the other direction. So again, starting about 1 centimetre away from the edge. Oh, I've not lost the knot inside this time, never mind. Just trap it in there, that'll be alright. So you can see how kind of ramshackle I'm being, you know. It's coming up to that top point again. Do another little double stitch. And come back down the other side. Okay, so I've just fastened off there, but I'm not going to cut the thread this time. I'm just leaving that for a minute because I can use that to do the next step. So I'm just going to take my thread inside to come out at that point there, and I'm going to turn it right way out, and you can see you've got this kind of vaguely tent shape. Now I'm going to bring these 2 points opposite sides together like this, and put a stitch through, or a couple of stitches through, to attach them to each other. And then I'm going to get the other 2 opposite points, so this one and this one, and attach them together. I'm looking slightly cat-handed because of the awkwardness of holding it up for the camera, but it's actually really simple and pretty quick to make these. Again, I think you could make a whole string just of these, just make a garland just of these. They look really pretty, and you could put little bells underneath them, or beads on the corners, or both. There we go, just knotted that off, and now I will take that thread just inside there and cut it off. There we go, and that's my bell done. Cute. They're kind of like flowers as well, aren't they? I'm calling them bells because of the way I'm going to be hanging them, but they're kind of like flowers as well. Let's put this one that way up. Here we go. So that's the bells. I need to make perhaps a few more of them. I've got some pieces cut out. When I come back next time, I'm going to do the squishies. So the squishies includes the hearts and these little plain cushions, and also these ones that I've made more into stars, star shapes, like these. Different ways of doing them. So I'll come back and do them next time. And then it's just the tassels, and then I'm ready to start assembling my danglers. So thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed that. If you're going to make some balls, bells or danglers of your own, please do share some pictures in the Facebook group or the Discord community. I always love to see when people make projects inspired by these videos, and it's lovely when people do their own, put their own spin on it and go off their own way, and usually do it better than I did, but you know, I don't mind. Okay, thanks again for joining me today. I'll be back next time with the squishies. See you again soon. Bye.